Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She didn't ask how my day went. No hello, no glance up from her phone. I set my lunch pail on the counter and reached for the fridge when she spoke like a cashier calling the next customer. I need money for tomorrow. I'm going shopping. I have nothing to wear. I shut the fridge door with my hip and looked at her. You said that last week. I handed you a good chunk. What happened to that? It's gone. Don't start. I need more. I'm not a slot machine, I replied. And the budget's not a suggestion. She rolled her eyes, pinched the bridge of her nose. You're being dramatic. I'm being consistent. She stood, walked to the hallway, and through the bedroom door, closed behind her. The frame rattled like we lived in a motel. I stood there with the empty dinner table and the smell of reheated coffee from the morning. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have stretched my back and warmed up first. You think you're dealing with one small demand, and then you realize it's the whole design. I ate a sandwich over the sink and listened to her play videos under the covers. The house had that quiet you get when someone's pretending to sleep angry. I cleaned my own plate, wiped the counter, and sat with my ledger. Numbers don't lie. People do it for them. In the morning, she breezed past me, keys in hand. So, cash or the card? Neither, I said, pushing a mug toward her. Rent, utilities, and the car payment went out. Discretionaries already used. You used it. You're ridiculous. She didn't touch the mug. Other husbands buy their wives things. That's normal. Other wives say thank you. Not nothing to wear 7 days later. She gave a tight smile. We'll talk tonight, when you're not in this mood. I'm in a responsible mood. It stays. At the shop, Mark wandered in while I was tightening a clamp on a compressor. Mark's one of those guys who cracks jokes to keep the room steady. He leaned against the doorframe, chewing on a toothpick. You look like a man who slept next to a storm, he said. She wants another wardrobe and believes money grows in the dryer. The classic self-emptying account. You gonna cave? No, I said, checking the seal. But I'm going to change a couple of rules. Mark raised his brows. New rules. Separate discretionary accounts. Joint covers the bills. Personal covers personal. No crossovers. If someone's jar is empty, the jar is empty. He nodded. That's fair. It's adult, I said. I'm not cutting off groceries. I'm cutting off entitlement. Prep for turbulence, he warned. You know the drill. Already buckled. When I got home, I had the envelopes ready. One for bills, one for savings, 2 smaller ones labeled with our names. I set them on the counter like place cards at a family dinner. She came in a half hour later. The bedroom door didn't slam this time. She walked straight to the kitchen and spotted the envelopes. What is this? She asked. Clarity. Our joint account pays the grown-up stuff. Then we each have our own monthly side pot. You spend yours how you want. I don't ask. When it's gone, it's gone. She laughed once, disbelief wrapped in sugar. So now you're rationing me? I'm protecting us. You had your week. It got burned in 2 days. I'm not arguing. This is how it is. You can't just decide things. I just did. I answered, sliding her envelope to her side of the counter. Here's this month's personal. No lecture. Do whatever you want with it. She looked at the cash without touching it. It's not enough. It's exactly what fits. I'm also done being the emergency fund for handbags. And what about dinner? Because I didn't get anything. Then we'll order something simple, I said. I'll pay from the joint because we both need to eat. I'm not hungry, she replied, grabbing her phone. That's fine, I said. I am. She stared at me for a second, waiting for me to blink first. I didn't. She walked to the living room and put on a show. I made a plain dinner, set one plate, and ate. She kept the volume a little higher than normal, like she wanted to prove something. It just proved I could enjoy my own company. That night she rolled away on the edge of the mattress and tossed like the bed was made of gravel. No talk, nothing. Just the sound of a person staging discomfort for an audience that had stopped buying tickets. It was a clean warning. She could turn off warmth like a faucet. I turned off the lamp and let my eyes adjust to the dark. I told myself this was a bump. Bumps don't have schedules, but they do end. That was the lie I still believed. 2 days later, we were at our neighbor Teresa's cookout. She's a retired teacher who uses her front yard like a podium. Couple of folding tables, a cooler, and the same paper plates you buy for every backyard thing. I was flipping burgers. Teresa was telling me about her nephew's new job when my wife joined the circle, glass in hand. Teresa smiled at her. You two coming to the road cleanup day next Saturday? I might, my wife said. Depends on if he lets me buy shoes for it. I set the spatula down and looked at her. Funny. It is, she said, with that tone that lands a jab while pretending to miss. He's been very strict lately. Budgets. Envelopes. I feel like I need permission to breathe. Teresa's eyebrows climbed. Oh. I wiped my hands on a paper towel. We agreed on a system so the house doesn't bleed cash. It's boring but adult. Boring is the word, my wife said, and took a sip. You should hear him. Joint for bills, personal for fun. I'm basically on an allowance. Teresa made a neutral noise that teachers make when two kids start blaming each other for kicking under the table. Mark had brought his wife, Jen, and they wandered over in time to catch the last line. Allowances are for kids, my wife added, glancing around, waiting for someone to laugh with her. I saw the move for what it was. Test the room, paint me tight-fisted, collect sympathy. There's a moment where you either let the paint dry or wash it off in front of everyone. I washed it off. It's not an allowance, I said calm. It's autonomy. You get yours. I get mine. We cover the real stuff together. If that's a problem, say it to me, not to Teresa's lawn. She held my eyes and gave a half smile that didn't reach anything. I'm just saying what's true. I'm saying what's healthy, I answered. And I'm moving another step. The joint card stays for groceries and house expenses only. Personal wants come from personal accounts. There won't be gray areas. Teresa pretended to check the corn on the grill like it suddenly required attention. Jen looked at her shoes. Mark coughed. My wife tilted her head. So you're making rules at a neighbor's barbecue? I'm stating my boundary so I don't have to hear about shoes while Teresa's flipping corn, I said. If you have an issue, take it to me privately. Her smile vanished like a light switched off. Got it. Private, she said, and walked inside. Teresa peeked up at me. You two okay? We will be, I told her. Thanks for the burgers. It wasn't my favorite way to spend a Saturday, but a public needle gets a public plug. Someone has to turn down the volume. If you do it politely, it still counts. When we got home, there was silence again. I washed the grill smoke off my hands, stacked the plates, and checked the shared spreadsheet I kept on my phone. Numbers still lined up. That night, she didn't roll to the edge. She didn't come to bed at all. The soft push came next morning. I was at the table with coffee and invoices when she padded in wearing one of my old shirts. No makeup, hair tied up, that casual home look that used to mean a quiet Sunday. She leaned on the island. I overreacted yesterday, she said. You blindsided me. I felt like you were putting me on a leash in front of everyone. I wasn't trying to embarrass you, I replied. I was stopping the bleeding where it started, in public. I know, she said. I heard myself last night. It was petty. I'm sorry. I watched her face. The eyes were the same, the tone was soft, the words were the right shape. The timing was the tell. The apology came after the boundary, not after reflection. Still, I poured her coffee and slid it across. I appreciate the apology, I said. But the rules stay. Okay. She nodded quickly, like she expected that line. Can we do something small instead? Maybe brunch? I'll pay for my envelope. That's fine, I said. We can go. At the diner, she held my hand on the table. You've been stressed, she said. Work is grinding you down. Let me make it nicer at home. I can take care of more things so you're not carrying it all. I already carry the house, I answered. That's not the point. I'm saying I'll show up more. I want us to be better, she said. I know I've been short. The server dropped our plates. She talked about lighting, new curtains, how a different set of bedding might make the room feel fresh. I let her run. The stream always ended at a store. I kept the conversation on logistics, cleaning schedule, groceries, her helping with the car maintenance. She agreed to everything like she was crossing off items on an invisible list. The bill came. She reached for her envelope and paid exactly her half. Back home, she was warm. Real warmth or tactical? Hard to tell in the moment. She put on music, asked about Mark, asked about a project I'd been stuck on. She even stood by the garage door while I checked a rattling shelf bracket. It was the version of her that shows up on anniversaries and around holidays. You can feel yourself wanting to believe. I didn't bite all the way. I adjusted, appreciated, and kept the new rules in place. 2 days later, The drawer with the envelopes was empty on her side. Her envelope had vanished. The spreadsheet showed 3 small purchases and 1 big one. She'd moved the big one through the joint card, categorized as household. It was a bag. I stood in the kitchen with the receipt open on my screen. She came home with iced coffee and a small smile. "Hey," she said. "What's for dinner?" "Whatever you make," I answered, still looking at the screen. "Can you pick up something on your way back from the shop?" "I didn't go today," I said, "and I'm looking at the charges." She blinked slow. "What charges?" "The ones that say household for a handbag." "It's an accessory. It's for going to events." "That's household." "Household is detergent," I said, "not a purse." "You're keeping score," she said, shrugging. "I get it, you like your spreadsheets." "I like honesty," I said. "Move the bag to your personal. If your envelope is empty, return the bag." "I'm not returning it." "Then you need to replace the joint money you took." She leaned on the counter, palms flat. "You're suffocating me. Every little thing is a lecture. I can't live like this." "Then don't. Live within the rule you agreed to at brunch." She was quiet for a long second. Then she grabbed her iced coffee and walked away. The door didn't slam this time. It clicked with careful anger. An hour later, Mark called. "You skipping tonight?" "What's tonight?" "Bowling. The guys are going. Your name's on the lane." "I'll come," I said. "I need a different room." At the alley, I threw a few frames and let my shoulders drop. Mark waited until the 3rd game. "It's escalating?" "It's shifting," I said. First cold, then a joke at a cookout, then an apology with brunch. Now we're back to "you're suffocating me." "You gonna keep patching the roof or fix the foundation?" "I'm done patching," I said. "Tomorrow I take the savings out of reach. After that, I'm filing the papers." Quietly, Mark watched the pins reset. "You sure?" "Yes." "You'll need a plan." "I already do," I said. "Separate the emergency fund. Lock the joint card to groceries and utilities with alerts. Schedule my nights. Stop playing into last-minute requests. And then file." He nodded. Cold moves. Warmth didn't work, I answered, rolling my ball. It curved and knocked down 8. "Next frame is mine." I took my next step the following morning. Early. She slept in. I brewed coffee, logged into our accounts, and moved the emergency fund into a separate savings under my name. I left the joint balance at a number that covered 2 months of bills. I set alerts. I changed the auto pay for my truck to my personal. I emailed my accountant to update beneficiaries and to schedule a review. No drama, just administration. At the shop, I worked through lunch and filed the paperwork online. No parade, no announcement. I saved the confirmation in a folder labeled with a date and went back to fixing a nailer. Around 4, she texted, "We should go to that new restaurant tonight. It'll be nice." "Not tonight," I replied. "Long day." She sent a heart. "Tomorrow then." When I got home, the living room was spotless and candles were lit. She had a recipe playing on a tablet. She glanced over her shoulder. "Hey," she said softly. "You look tired." "I am," I said. "Sit." I made dinner. I set my bag down and watched her move around the kitchen. It was the second turn of softness in a week. She plated pasta, poured a glass of wine for herself, and water for me. We sat across from each other like a magazine photo of domestic peace. "This is good," I said, and meant it. "Thank you." "I've been thinking," she started. "You're right about a lot of things. We need structure. I don't want to be wasteful." "Okay," I nodded. "I want a fresh start," she continued. "New routines. You lead, I'll follow. I promise." Promises land differently when you've already seen the invoice. I ate, nodded, kept my expression steady. She reached across and squeezed my hand. "We should plan a weekend," she said. "Get away. Reset." "I'm booked for the next couple weekends," I replied. "I'm helping Joe at the shop and I promised Mark I'd cover and install." "You're always busy," she said, with a smile that pretended to be impressed. "Maybe that's the problem." "I'm busy," I said, "because I'm building a life I can respect." She put her fork down. "So am I." The next day, the thermostat was set 10 degrees cooler than usual. The laundry basket was empty. She sent me a selfie from a salon with the caption, "Taking care of me, so I can take care of us." I scrolled past it. Around 5, she called. "Can you swing by the mall on your way home? I found a jacket that would look incredible on me. It's on sale. Use your envelope." "I'm asking you to treat me," she said gently. "As a gesture." I cooked. I apologized. You said you appreciated it. I do appreciate effort, I answered. That's not the same as funding every idea. Her tone thinned. You're really going to be like this. I'm really going to be steady. If your envelope is empty, wait. Silence. Then she hung up without a word. I put my phone back in my pocket and finished tightening the bolts on Joe's lift. Joe looked over. He's a quiet man with grease under his nails and a direct way of seeing things. Storm at home. Forecast shows manipulation with a chance of flattery, I said. He snorted. You set rules. Yes. You backing them? Yes. Then you'll be fine, he said, and went back to the brake line. He was bleeding. I slept better that night than I had in weeks, which tells you what clarity does to a man's spine. Her third act came in public. Mark and I were at a supply store picking up ducting for a job. We ran into her friend Amanda near the entrance. Amanda is one of those smiling commentators who never met a boundary. She didn't try to step over just to see if you'd notice. Oh hey, she chirped. You two out buying man things. Materials, I said. The things that keep a roof over heads. Amanda leaned in, lowering her voice a fake inch. Treating your wife better lately? Mark raised an eyebrow. What? Amanda laughed. She's been so down. Says you're rigid. That you track her like a teenager. I looked at her and then at the stack of duct. If she's down, it's from standing on high heels. And I track nothing but budgets. She said you won't let her have a life? Amanda kept going. No dinners, no girls' nights, nothing fun. That's funny, I replied. I declined one dinner and one shopping trip. She can have any night she wants. On her personal. I'm not canceling my work to fund repeated impulses. Amanda pouted like she was fishing for a different scene. So it's true. You used to be so generous. I still am, I said. I'm just not gullible. She blinked, offended that I didn't play. She deserves a nice life, you know. She deserves whatever life she builds with honesty, I answered. I refused to be a prop. Amanda didn't have a script for that. She excused herself. Mark exhaled a low whistle. That was test number, what 5? He asked. Lost count, I said. But that did it. Did what? Convinced me this isn't about us. It's about her cart. A lifestyle. She's telling people I'm the obstacle to her fun. She wants me as an ATM with a face. Mark picked up one end of the duct. You good? I'm done pretending, I said. I filed yesterday. We loaded the truck. On the drive back, I thought about the house, about the staged dinner, about the shoes that turned into a bag that turned into a narrative. Lines connect fast when you stop lying to yourself. I wasn't hurt. I was awake. She noticed the loss of control within 2 days. The ask started to land softer. She appeared in my workshop with a casserole from Teresa, of all people, claiming she wanted to make peace with the neighbors. She wore simple clothes, no flash, the look of a woman trying very hard to look like she wasn't trying. Can we talk? She asked, setting the dish on a workbench. We can talk, I said, wiping my hands on a rag. This isn't what I meant, she said. I wanted us to be a team. You make me feel like a burden. You made you feel like a burden when you demanded extras like they were oxygen, I replied. When you joked at Teresa's about allowances. When you recoded purse as household. That's not a team. That's an angle. Her eyes glossed in that way people practice in mirrors. You're cold. I'm consistent, I said. Consistency feels cold when you're used to warm handouts. She reached for my arm. I miss you. You miss my compliance, I answered, stepping away. It's different. She pulled back like I'd slapped her ego. So that's it. A couple mistakes and you turn into a prison guard. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm protecting respect. She swallowed and glanced at the casserole like it could help. I can try harder. Try different, I said. Earn trust with honesty and restraint. Not with staged dinners and leverage. She stared at me a few seconds more, then shifted her tone. My mom invited us Sunday. She thinks you've been distant. I told her you're just busy. Come, please. It'll show her we're okay. Sunday, I'm helping Joe with a transmission. I paused. Tell her the truth. Tell her we're not okay because you want me to fund your every whim. The casserole sat there between us like a prop that didn't belong in my shop. She didn't cry. She recalculated. Fine, she said. I'll go alone. That's appropriate, I replied. When she left, Joe came in from the other bay. He had the casserole. That from Teresa or from diplomacy? A little of both, I said. You gonna eat it? I'll give it back to Teresa in the dish it came in, I said. No appetite for theater. He grunted approval. Sometimes the best applause is one sound from a man who recognizes steel. Sunday evening, she tried one more pass. She set the table with our nicer plates and wore a dress I hadn't seen in a while. She moved around the kitchen thoughtful and warm, and when we sat she was almost quiet. "I made your favorite," she said. "We haven't been us lately." "We've been exactly us," I said. "The version where I work. You want, I draw a line, you push." "I've been in a bad headspace," she said. "I wanted to keep up with my friends. Everyone's doing better, and I felt left behind." "There it is," I replied. "Finally." "What? You want to keep up with your friends?" I said. "Not with me. With them. With their bags and their trips. That's your center. And I'm your method." "That's not fair," she said. "It's accurate," I said. "You could have said that months ago. We could have set goals. You chose to call me strict and shame me at a barbecue instead." She folded her napkin slowly. "Why do you keep shutting down when I talk? Why do you stay silent like we're not even married?" The line hung in the air like a sign. She'd been icing me for a month, weaponizing silence and sweetening it when she needed a deposit. Now she threw it at me like I'd invented it yesterday. The audacity almost made me laugh. It didn't. It cleared my head. I leaned back. "We're not," I said. She blinked. "What?" "We're not married," I repeated, steady. "I filed a while ago." Her face lost color like someone drew a shade over a window. She tried to smile, like it could be a joke if she made it one. "You're not serious." "I am," I said. "You would have known sooner if you'd been interested in us instead of your shopping list." She let out a short sound that wasn't a laugh. "So what? You run to paperwork because I asked for things." "You made things the point," I answered. "You treated me like a wallet with shoes. You downgraded me in public. You faked soft to get leverage. You did it again and again. This is the consequence." She pushed her chair back, hands flat on the table. "You're unbelievable. You're throwing away years because you can't give a little more." That's all I asked. "A little more. We can fix this. Say you're sorry. Stop being stingy. It's not that hard." I looked at her. The pitch didn't change even in the face of concrete news. She needed me to feel guilty to open the till. The pattern was so clean I could label it and put it on a shelf. "You're still selling," I said. "You're not listening." "I'm telling you what we need to do to stay together," she snapped. "It's simple." "It is," I said. "Pack a bag." She blinked. "Excuse me." "You have 4 hours," I said, looking at the clock on the stove. "Take what's yours and go to your mother's. No scenes. No drama. I'll be out until then." She stared like I'd slapped her with a schedule. "You don't talk to me like that." "I just did," I replied. "For hours." "You think you can kick me out?" She laughed, volume rising. "This is my home, too. I'm not leaving because you're playing tough guy." "For hours," I repeated, standing and taking my keys. "When I come back, you shouldn't be here." She stood, voice climbing. "Unbelievable. You're the reason this fell apart. You don't give, you don't care, you don't." I opened the door. She followed, throwing blame like handfuls of sand. I didn't answer. I got in the truck and drove. I put the window down and let air wash over me. No victory music. No adrenaline. Just a clear road and a man who keeps his own word. I grabbed coffee, sat in the parking lot, and texted Mark, "It's happening." He replied with a thumbs up and nothing else. Good friend language. 3 hours later, I drove home. The driveway was empty. Inside, the closet rails looked like a stage after the show ends. Her shoes were gone. The bathroom counter was clean. The air didn't feel strained. I went to the kitchen, washed the 2 plates from dinner, and stacked them in the cabinet with quiet hands. Then I sat in the living room without the TV on and listened to the house be a house again. I slept like the bed was finally a bed. The days after were busy by design. I changed the locks. I redirected mail. I canceled streaming junk I didn't use. Mark and I wrapped the big install. I helped Joe finish that transmission. I told Teresa we'd be quieter on weekends for a while. She nodded like she'd already known the ending. My phone lit up with her name twice the next day. I didn't pick up. She left messages that started calm and climbed. The third was an essay about history and duty and how I was breaking vows by being cold. Then came the texts. "We can fix it. Please call." I didn't mean those things. I was hurt. "You're doing this to punish me. You owe me at least a conversation." I owed her the courtesy of stopping a failed routine. I'd already paid my debt. She started sending pictures of rooms she liked. as if to show me the life I could still buy. Then came a picture of her at her mother's, sitting on a couch with a small throw pillow hugged to her chest. The caption read, "This is what you did." I didn't answer images. I answered actions. Mine had been taken. Hers still hadn't. A week later, she tried another angle. "I'm coming by to pick up a few more things." I replied, "Leave a list. I'll put them on the porch." She wrote, "We're not strangers." I responded, "We are now." She came at 10 a.m. anyway. Teresa saw her from her garden and waved. My wife waved back with that bright, social smile she uses to sell the story that she's innocent and life is unjust. I put the box on the porch and stayed inside. She took the box, looked at the door like it might open, then left. It didn't open. The calls didn't stop. The story shifted. The new story was that I had always been distant and she couldn't get through to me. The math of that line was bad. It also didn't matter. I had moved the savings. I had moved my focus. You can argue narratives or you can live decisions. I chose the second. 2 months later, I sat at my kitchen table with Mark and Jen. We ate takeout. The house was not full of tension. It was full of furniture and air. Jen looked around. "It feels lighter," she said. "It is," I replied. "You think she'll try to come back?" Mark asked. "She already has," I said. I didn't bring the hook. "What if she changes?" Jen asked. "She changes when it benefits her," I said. "That's not change. That's strategy." They didn't argue. Good friends don't try to drag you back into rooms you've walled off for safety. Epilogue. Fine. Here's the dry part adults care about. She didn't let me go easily. Surprise. She tried to reach into every corner she could, claim most of what I'd built, paint the picture that she'd been the engine behind it. It ran into a simple wall: receipts. In 2 years, she hadn't brought in $1. It wasn't a crime. It was just a fact. She'd spent, reorganized categories on statements, and narrated her effort as managing the home, while the home managed her. When numbers met daylight, they didn't lie for her. I kept most of what mattered. Not because I was ruthless, but because she had nothing to point to except stories and shopping bags. She called again after it settled. A new number. I recognized her voice within one syllable. "We should start over," she said. "We've both learned a lot." I laughed, because sometimes a clean sound is the only answer to a recycled pitch. I didn't say a word. I hung up and blocked the number. Then I drove to the new place. It's smaller than the old house and 10 times more mine. The garage is organized. The deck faces a line of old trees. No candles are lit for effect. Coffee tastes like coffee. I traded the constant pressure for quiet effort. I didn't turn into a monk. I work, I see friends. I go to the shop on Saturdays and pretend to help Joe while he actually teaches me to fix what I should have learned 20 years ago. I still bowl too. Mark swears I added 10 points to my average once my evenings stopped being negotiations. There's a woman too. Her name is Sarah. We met at the hardware store when she needed help lifting a box of pavers and refused to pretend she didn't. She works. She laughs with her eyes before her mouth. She buys what she wants with money she earns. And when we go out, we split without announcing it. She doesn't test. I don't lecture. We don't keep score. We keep pace. I told her I wasn't interested in drama. She said the same. Adults talk like that when they're done with games. Sometimes I see my ex's car near her mother's house when I drive to the shop. I don't slow down. I don't speed up. I just keep going. Teresa still waves from her garden. Joe still nods like nods are full sentences. The world keeps doing what it does when you stop trying to control anyone but yourself. You want to know the final line I gave her? It wasn't a speech. It was a receipt. The night I came home to the quiet. I took one photo, the empty closet rail. I keep it on my phone in a folder with the filing confirmation and the first budget spreadsheet we made. I don't look at it often. I don't need to. But when she called to sell me a rerun and I laughed, I glanced once at that photo, and then I put my phone down and went out to the garage. I tightened a loose bracket on the shelf she used to clutter. It held. I rolled the bike out and texted Mark. "Ride?" He replied with the time. Sarah met us halfway and kept up with 2 men who still think they're 25 on hills. Afterwards, we sat on the tailgate and talked about nothing with the easy rhythm you get when you don't owe an apology for existing. That's the trick no one likes to say out loud. Peace is expensive in the beginning and cheap